So it's Advent.
Yes.
We thought we'd change our backdrop.
Welcome to our living room. This is our fireplace with a mantle.
You could call it a mantle place, and then that sort of blends it together.
There you go. With our stockings hung.
It is now working, and I just accidentally swiped it, so it's off my screen.
Okay.
Now I can't find it.
Excellent. Well, now that we're live,
now we're ready.
We had a minor.
We had a 2-minute lead-in.
Yeah, we were waiting to get things figured out.
Yes.
And maybe you were waiting. And today we're going to talk about waiting because it is Advent.
Yes, we are.
It is December 10th, 2020. And
it still is, isn't it?
For a few more weeks, we're going to do this. And maybe you're waiting for the end of 2020. I know in some ways.
Who isn't waiting for the end of 2020 is what I want to know.
Right. Good call. Well, at any rate.
Well, I could think of maybe 1 or 2 people, but it might get too controversial.
Sure. All right. Well, today, this is our Ask Us conversation, our weekly conversation with you and us as your pastors sharing what is happening in our lives and the life of our church, and for you to ask questions. So we are live on Facebook, and so you can throw a comment in, a question in the comments.
Yes, you can.
You can always text us to our Crossview number. You can always use the form on our website or email us a question that you have.
You could crash your Facebook.
Well, I'm hoping that they don't do that. We can do that.
Okay.
And we'll try to answer any questions to the best of our ability that we have, that you have today. Okay. So we always have people asking us, what are you excited about?
Yes, we are.
So what are we excited about? We just, have changed some things around.
Yes. And, why don't you tell us what you were excited about on Sunday?
Well, I mean, for one thing, I'm super excited that we just got some new video equipment that we ordered back in August.
Can you believe that? August.
And, because everybody's trying to get online, all the video production equipment is delayed.
Right.
So it was exciting to finally get it.
Everything's delayed, let's be clear.
Yes, it does feel like everything in 2020 is delayed.
We had to wait.
We did have to wait. We waited a long time for that equipment. So it's exciting to finally have that equipment in. And yesterday I got a chance to hang out with Christopher Willard, and he helped us dial in some of the settings on that. So hopefully we'll have a little bit better experience on Sunday, even though I think, I looked at the picture on Sunday and man, it looked a lot better.
We're excited about that. Yeah. We still continue to have some glitches online, so thanks for bearing with us. And we always post a podcast afterwards, and even if we have sound issues on Sunday, there aren't as many when you make it into a podcast.
Yeah.
So this past Sunday, we also continued our Sermon on the Mount series, and I can't say I was excited, but perhaps a good news story is just continuing as we are in small groups and talking with other people, just how the Sermon on the Mount continues to really speak to people. Sometimes you get into a series and maybe people get bored, or you read a certain part of Scripture and you just kind of go, oh, that was nice. But I feel like as we continue to study the Sermon on the Mount, man, people really are getting real with God. There's a particular person in our small group that just keeps talking about every week. This is really about focusing on Jesus and spending time with Jesus and building our relationship with God. So that is exciting.
Yeah, and my men's group has been just a ton of fun last night as we were sharing how we were experiencing the passage. I think every one of us had that, we struggle and have thought about the idea this week since you preached it on Sunday about how we can be mindful of the plank in our own eye and, not to be judging others.
Right. It's such a massive, that's ironic. It's such a clear picture, like an image of like, I have something huge in my eye, but I'm over here going, gosh, you know what? You have this tiny little thing in your eye, and how silly and ridiculous that is. And yet, oh my gosh, we do it all the time, don't we? Yeah. So God help us. Literally, God help us.
Yeah. So that's exciting. I was also really excited about the fact that we had a ton of people helping out on Sunday morning, getting things set up in the great room, and it was a blast.
It really was.
And a number of new people coming and helping serve. So thank you for coming in and making it happen.
Yes.
And you're helping people connect with Jesus. We continue to see numbers of people online increasing. And this past Sunday, it was fun to have people back in the room. And so invite you to come back if you're interested in that, to join us in the great room. You can be a part of our live studio audience, or
Right.
just to be there and worship
Yep.
in person if that's what you'd like to do. And of course, we'll be online with the new equipment, so it's exciting.
Yes. We also see some new people coming and trying out our small groups, whether it's a neighbor that has maybe only been once and comes back. And we continue to do Alpha. Alpha is wrapping up on December 13th, so this coming Sunday. And I had an opportunity to talk to one person who's been just starting to reread the Bible, or maybe even read it for the first time. I'm not completely sure, but she just talked about reading an entire book, the book of John, and how she is learning who Jesus is. And she said, man, I wish I had done this years ago. She's not like 10. And so that's been exciting. And another person who's been in Alpha has really sensed just re-trusting God after feeling honestly pretty burned by God and the church in her past. And so has had a sense of reconnecting with God, or a recommitment to following Jesus. So both of those things were really good news stories that happened last week.
Yeah. So fun things to think of, to see God at work in our midst. And then, we're going to be starting up Alpha again in the spring, so we can look forward to that for those of you who didn't get a chance to do it this fall.
It's been great. It's been great for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes what we study in Alpha connects to what we've been studying in the Sermon on the Mount, and so we all are appreciating that. Plus Pastor Brad, Pastor Aaron, and I are all in Alpha this fall, and so a lot of us preach, and so it's been funny to see, right, how often we keep talking about Alpha as we get ready for the sermon.
So waiting. We've been kind of teasing it a little bit, and maybe some of you are waiting, as we said, for the end of 2020. Maybe you're waiting for Christmas. Maybe you are waiting for a phone call. I just got a phone call.
Got a phone call.
Maybe, what are some other things? Maybe you're waiting for Christmas presents. Maybe you're waiting for, we were talking this morning as we took a walk. We're waiting to hear what Governor Walz is going to say in terms of next steps as the kind of 4-week window that he originally kind of proclaimed is coming to an end. There's lots of things to wait for.
Our kids are waiting for snow. You can't see what it's like outside, but if you're not in Mankato, it looks like, well, not quite October, because we still had leaves in October, but it's crazy. There's still green grass. We don't wear jackets that often. We're kind of waiting for winter on some level.
Yeah. Our kids are used to a lot earlier winter.
Right.
Coming from up north.
Yes.
Funny.
We were watching the Bible Project last night about Advent, and that was really what they were talking about. And after we watched the video and we were talking as a family, I said, what did the Advent video teach you, or what did it tell you about Advent? And that was the first kid, I think, said, Advent isn't about waiting to open your gifts. It is about waiting for celebrating Jesus and having a new opportunity to worship God.
Yeah, that's good. And, Advent really is that season of waiting for Jesus, waiting for him to come. And the Israelites did that in the early days. They were waiting for the Messiah, constantly waiting for the Messiah. And now we as Christians today, we wait for the second coming of Jesus. We live in that tension of Jesus has come for the first time, and he's inaugurated and brought in his kingdom, but he hasn't. There are ways in which we don't see the full realization of that. And so what do we do in that time of waiting?
We are talking about how when we go to an appointment and we know we will likely be waiting, so at the dentist or the doctor's office or when you're getting your hair done, that I'll bring a book. I try to do something productive. Elam had an eye appointment a couple weeks ago, and she told me it would be 2 hours, and I was like, really, 2 hours? And she said, yeah, 2 hours. Well, it's because he had to get his eyes dilated. And so I brought work. I had a computer, I had my Kindle so that I could do some sermon prep. I used that time for productivity to be efficient and do the things I needed to do.
And I think that's a great example of what it looks like for us to wait as Christians for the second coming. It's not a passive waiting. It's not let's just twiddle our thumbs and wait.
Yep.
It's an active waiting where we bring things to do. And I think it fits well in our sermon series. We seek first the kingdom of God, and we seek those things out as we live our lives. So we look for ways to engage in kingdom activity. And I was thinking about, our strategy at Crossview. The way that we try to live that out really is simple. We try to invite people into the kingdom by coming to church, coming to small group, by inviting them into conversation about Jesus and
into our lives, really.
Yeah, and into our lives. We serve others. We have been serving at I'm sorry, at Rosa Parks. I've gotten so used to saying Crossview Rosa Parks. We serve at Rosa Parks Elementary
At the
School,
elementary school.
and we serve kids lunch. And there are ways that we serve. And in this season, for some people it has been harder, but there are still ways that we can serve people. We can text people,
Right.
text our neighbors. We can check in with what's happening around
Right.
us.
One of the things that I would say as we think about how do we wait for Advent and how do we wait for Jesus to come back either way is thinking about Christmas. Christmas is a time when many people who don't regularly go to church would come in the doors. Now this year they probably won't do that, right? And so one of the things that we're creating at both sites for Crossview is a Christmas kit. I don't know if I've told you completely about this, but if you are not able to come into the building, we want to give you a Christmas kit. And we're going to have candles so that you can still experience the candle lighting. There'll be a little instruction in there for how you can get online, and you can share that with your neighbors as a way to invite them. Maybe
That's awesome.
you do a watch party with them.
Yeah.
And if you have kids, there's going to be a little something extra for the kids. So
Exciting.
even though things are different and we're all kind of waiting for it to get over
Right.
and move on, we're also excited about the ways that God opens up opportunities for us to
Yeah.
continue to be on mission.
So thanks for joining us today. I don't think we've had any additional comments today that we need to.
No, we just had a phone call, so who
address.
knows what that was.
Well, maybe we missed a question. Well, thanks for joining us today. Have a Merry Christmas.